You don't love the one that needs more or less than you do the one that needs less attention. You don't love the child that's well more than the child that happens to be born with an illness, needs more care and more attention. That's silly. Why do we believe these things about God? The Urantia book tells us just point blank. No, that's wrong. That's incorrect. To think that God plays favorites. He's no respecter of persons. He's infinite. It calls him the first great source and center of all things and beings, and it gives you a cosmology of the universe of universes. I like to tell people, it says, you knew God was big, but you didn't know how big God was. So they give us an idea of how big God is, bigger than we ever imagined.
It's true.
You knew God was good, but you never knew how good God is. Let us show you how good God is. And, it tells us that the universe of universes is inhabited, myriad intelligent beings, millions, trillions of inhabited worlds. The universe of universes is teeming with life. Every law of probability states that. 60% of the world believe that there's life on other planets, even though we have no real evidence of that yet as a world. I mean, some people would argue with that. I know they feel like they do have evidence of it, and actually I feel like I have evidence of it. I think the Urantia book is the most compelling evidence I've ever found that there is intelligent life
Absolutely.
on other planets. And because they've reached out to us and they've given us this most extraordinary document. And once you read it, you find yourself saying, humans couldn't have written this. There's just no way.
It's really true.
We're not that altruistic. We're not that incredible and loving to have given so much and asked for nothing. Nobody's getting rich on this. Nobody, there's no church, no clergy, no sacred circle of inner knowledge. If you have the book, you have everything I've had for the last 35 years. I'll never know if you read it or not. And frankly, I wouldn't want to force anybody to do anything that's against their will. The Urantia book has taught me that free will is the greatest gift there is. So, if you read it, God bless you. It has everything to give you. If you're a Christian, it'll make you a better Christian. If you're a Muslim, it'll make you a better Muslim. If you're a Hindu, it'll make you a better Hindu.
That is.
It doesn't want to take anything away from you. It wants to add everything to you. The universe, the Urantia book says in one place that the most highs of the universe stand back in merciful respect of the prerogatives of will, and that they would never attempt to coerce you into anything. And in that vein, I prepared a quote. I have several here I hope to read to you today. This one is about free will, and this is from the first part of the book. In fact, it falls in one of the very first papers. The first 5 papers are about the nature and attributes of God. This one says, the Universal Father never imposes any form of arbitrary recognition, formal worship, or slavish service upon the intelligent will creatures of the universes. The evolutionary inhabitants of the worlds of time and space must of themselves, in their own hearts, recognize, love, and voluntarily worship Him. The Creator refuses to coerce or compel the submission of the spiritual free wills of His material creatures. The affectionate dedication of the human will to the doing of the Father's will is man's choicest gift to God. In fact, such a consecration of creature will constitutes man's only possible gift of true value to the Paradise Father. In God, man lives, moves, and has his being. There is nothing which man can give to God except this choosing to abide by the Father's will. And such a decision, and such decisions, affected by the intelligent free will creatures of the universes, constitute the reality of that true worship which is so satisfying to the love-dominated nature of the Creator Father. So imagine that. God does not want you to do what's right because you think that there's some magical reward for you doing that. God does not want to coerce or compel you to do the right thing. He wants you to do the right thing because you know it's the right thing and because you want to do the right thing. He wants you to choose Him because you know He's good, because you know He's righteous, because you know He's perfect and true and beautiful. Not because you're afraid of what He might do if you don't do the right thing. Not because you've been coerced by fear of punishment or compelled by promise of rewards. No. But because you believe in righteousness. And what does that mean? It's all the fruits of the Spirit. It's love and compassion and understanding and sympathy. All the things that you want from God, from your fellow man, you're willing to give. You're willing to give those things because you believe in the power of love, the power of righteousness, the power of peace, the power of understanding, the power of forgiveness, the power of loyalty, the power of goodness, acceptance, sincerity. You believe in these things. These are your core values. These are what make you a spiritual being. These are what set you apart from the animal kingdom. Animals serve themselves. If you put down a plate of food for two dogs, they'll fight each other over it. Only humans will sacrifice so that other humans can have something. Only humans would split that plate and say, here, you take half. I want you to be nourished as well as me. Animals don't get that sense. But we are human beings. We are God's children. We are part of His creation as animals are a part of His creation, but we are more. We have a free will. We can choose. We can choose to share, choose to love, choose to give, choose to honor. So that's a key concept to the Urantia book, this idea of choice, and this idea of love, this idea of unselfish service. Very key to the Urantia book, losing oneself. It says that a primitive religious experience is a choice to do some unselfish good for some cause greater than yourself, to lose yourself. That's the primitive worship when a human wants to do something good. And so, the Urantia book is teaching us of the love of God. And that's the first whole part of the Urantia book, the central and super universes. Paradise is God's abode, and it's going to tell us how good, how great, how magnificent, how well organized, how replete, complete God's creation is. And, that in itself is mind-boggling. But as I said in my introduction, when I first found the Urantia book, and I read those first 5 papers on the nature and attributes of God, I wanted to fall down on my face and worship this God. I felt like I had finally found my God, the God of perfection, the God of that is omnipresent, omnipotent, and omniscient. And that God is so much bigger than we humans. The Urantia book tells us that our tendency is to try to bring God down to our level so that we can understand Him. And so we make Him angry and wrathful and vengeful and hateful. But those emotions don't exist in Him. And as we grow, it says that he has sent down a divine mandate that goes out from the center of all things where he resides in paradise to the nth end of creation. Be you perfect even as I am perfect. So that's our job. He doesn't expect us to be perfect in this life. Whew, that's good news, because we're not, and we've got a long way to go, obviously. But he expects us to point in that direction and work on it.
Try.
You know, you can't just magically become perfect. The book tells us, you know, we are eternal beings. We possess the potential of eternity, and we can survive death. We have to develop a soul that is strong, just like an embryo needs to be strong to survive birth. Our souls need to be strong to survive death, which in itself is another form of birth. It's a new awakening into a new reality, a birth into a new realm. You know, a human embryo comes out of a very warm and closed environment. Everything is provided for that embryo. It needs for nothing. All that the mother takes in immediately goes to it. And it's very satisfied and warm and provided for and closed in. But at the moment that it's born, it comes into a whole new world. And there's all new lessons to learn. And that's a pattern. And that pattern repeats itself. The minute we die, we're born into a whole new existence. And that is full of many things to learn. Death does not make us perfect.
Yeah.
The Urantia book says, you pick up over there right where you leave off here. And death adds nothing to you except the knowledge that you survived it.
Right.
Imagine that. Imagine how powerful that must be, to realize that there is no death. There's immortality. So here's another quote from the Urantia book. Again, this is a favorite. I mentioned it in my interview on YouTube, my story. I love to share this one with people because I don't think we humans value each other enough, and we don't value ourselves enough. We don't have a sense of how valuable we are. It says the love of the Father absolutely individualizes each personality as a unique child of the universal Father, a child without duplicate in infinity, a will creature, irreplaceable in all eternity. Listen to that again. I'm going to read that again. The love of the Father absolutely individualizes each personality as a unique child of the universal Father, a child without duplicate in infinity, a will creature, irreplaceable in all eternity. Did you know that about yourself? That you are without duplicate in infinity?
It's amazing.
Without duplicate. God can never make you again. There will never be in infinity another person like you, ever. You are irreplaceable in eternity. Now, you are without duplicate in infinity, irreplaceable in eternity, and so is everyone else. I don't care how poor they are. I don't care how uneducated they are. I don't care where they live. If they live on a trash heap, they are precious to their Creator. They are without duplicate in infinity. I don't care if they're a Democrat or a Republican.
That's right.
It doesn't matter if they are a Muslim or a Christian. It doesn't matter what culture they are from on this planet. It doesn't even matter that they are from this planet. Some of them are not from this planet. Most of them aren't. This is just one planet out of billions. that are inhabited with free will